Hey guys! So today I want to talk about a video game that I've been a little bit obsessed with lately, which is Wolfenstein: The New Order. So back at E3, Bethesda announced their new Wolfenstein game, which is the new Colossus, and it looked so amazing and it made me feel really bad that I hadn't played a Wolfenstein game before. So I decided to play The New Order because it's the last in the series, so I figured it's easier to get into a more modern game than some of the older ones, and it was also really well received. So I've been playing it the past 2 weeks and I love it. I'm almost done with it. I feel like this game is the best shooter that I have played since Gears of War. It doesn't have the same smooth style as like the sci-fi shooters Destiny, Halo, Mass Effect, It's more of a heavy hitter. Like, this world is messed up and I'm a badass. That's kind of the premise of the game. That's Gears of War and that's Wolfenstein. And I think it's really fun. Probably one of my favorite perks in the game so far is the fact that you get to dual wield assault rifles, which I don't think I've ever done in a game before, and it is so fun. You feel like such a badass. I mean, you waste ammo like nobody's business. Like, you will run out of ammo very, very fast if you do that, but it is so fun to just go in there. If you're taking out like a heavy mech or something, just go for it. It's super fun. So today I wanted to share 5 reasons why I am enjoying this shooter so much. I'll try to be brief, but we'll see how it goes. Number 1 is the premise. This is 1960, but it's an alternate history where the Nazis have won World War II. So you're going in there and you're trying to bring the resistance back to fight the Nazis that have just taken over the world, basically. And a lot of people have lost hope, but your character hasn't. You're kind of the one who's bringing hope back. It makes it a really exciting story. Number 2 is the variety of the missions. You, at one point, get to infiltrate a Nazi labor camp. So you go undercover. You're talking to people, you're sneaking around, you're killing some of the Nazi overseers, but at the end, you get to get into a giant mech and just basically shoot out the whole camp to free the people who are imprisoned there. So there's tons of variety, even within one mission itself. There is a lot of shooting, there's a lot of stealth, and then there's also some puzzles and some different things that you do to interact with the environment. Like, you can go swimming at different points. There's some QTEs. There's some, things that you have to interact with to like open doors, and it makes it really fun. I like the variety. Number 3 is the characters. I think they're really great. There's a great sense of camaraderie that kind of reminds me of the squad mentality in Gears of War. And even though you don't have a squad quite in the same way as you do in a game like Gears of War, a lot of times, the protagonist is kind of on his own in these missions. A lot of times he's on his headset with people back at headquarters, and in between all of the missions, he goes back to these kind of private hidden headquarters to talk to his team. So it makes it really fun. You really get to know people, and he has old friends and new friends, and everybody's working together to fight the Nazis. You even get to enjoy a little romance. Not to give away too many spoilers, but the characters are just really well developed. Another thing that I like, and it's just a little touch, but whenever you look at or talk to another character, you can see their names above their heads. And I just love the fact that every character has a name, even the ones that you don't really talk to or interact with. If you look at them, they still have a name. And for instance, there's a mission where you save a bunch of refugees. And afterwards, they kind of hang out at your headquarters, and you don't really interact with them too much. But if you look at them, they have a name. And I think it just adds this sense of realism, and the stakes are high, like these are real people. And I think it's really cool that the game went that far to actually name all of the characters. Number 4 is the character of BJ himself. I really like the main character. He's a likable guy. He's got a little snark. He's kind of sarcastic. He's also kind of beaten down sometimes. You can tell that this is a guy who has to struggle to kind of maintain his motivation and his sense of hope. And he's working with his team to kind of keep that spirit alive. But he's been through a lot, and he's had to make some really tough choices. And so I really enjoy playing him as a character. I find myself rooting for him a lot compared to a lot of characters that I play in video games where I'm kind of like, I don't know who this is, I don't really care, I'm just enjoying the action. But in this case, I really think that BJ has a lot of heart, and I really care about what happens to him. And I think the fact that he has a lot of friends in the game, he has a little romance, it kind of adds all of these different dimensions to who he is, which is really cool. I also like the fact that there is a lot of dialogue that he has. And I think this is really common in video games where your character is by themselves a lot. They talk to themselves, and a lot of people find that really annoying, but I actually really like it. I know Tomb Raider, for instance, the new games, got a lot of flack because Laura's always talking to herself, and sometimes the dialogue can be kind of repetitive, or it just seems silly that she's saying something to herself. But I really like it. I kind of think of it as sort of an internal monologue, like what they're thinking rather than what they're actually saying out loud to themselves. And it really helps me feel connected to the character. I feel like they're more real because you always talk to yourself when you're alone. At least I do. So I really like the fact that BJ does that, and I think his dialogue is pretty realistic. It's not too repetitive, and he also has some kind of sarcastic lines that he says, so it makes me feel more connected to him.
Oh, Isha Koch, Shimshon, Isha Koch. That's all I need. Or actually, would you deliver this note to Anya? She will need the frequency of the transponder to track the thing.
Like I'm the goddamn errand boy.
What number am I on? Number 5. The cinematography is amazing in this game. And I know that's weird to say about a video game because I know technically, the cutscenes are animations, but it looks like an expert cinematographer was filming these scenes from different angles, from the shadows, from up above. They're cut in a really cool way. Sometimes there's like a split screen effect as you have two characters and it adds this sense of drama. And it's surprisingly like the first thing that I noticed. I was like, wow, this game has amazing cutscenes. It feels very visceral and fast-paced and exciting. I really like it, and I think it's a really gorgeous game for that reason. It's really unique. This game definitely has that badass, like, post-apocalyptic feel, even though it's not really post-apocalyptic. It is a world where, since the Nazis have taken over, it feels like everything's going to hell. And so the fact that you come in here and you're trying to save the world is kind of a big task, and it makes you feel like a badass. And so I really like the story for that reason. I think it makes the shooting feel kind of over the top. There is some stealth, which I'm not good at, and I think in some missions you have to perform stealth or you're not going to make it through, because when you're caught, you're just overwhelmed with enemies. So that can be a little bit challenging. Sometimes I run out of ammo, so I feel like I need to use stealth for that reason. But luckily, in a lot of the missions, it's like one of those situations where like you're sneaking into a room, there's a Nazi in the corner, but for some reason he's just staring at the wall. He's not looking at you, or like he's doing his rounds, so he'll like walk down the hall, but then he'll just stand there staring at a painting or something. So you can sneak up behind him, you have lots of time, and it's not too stressful. So I like that. The stealth is very forgiving, but now that I'm in some of the later missions in the game, I'm finding that the shooting actually becomes really challenging. There's like 4 difficulty settings, and I'm playing on the second one, so it's one of the easier settings, and yet now that I'm in the later missions, I'm finding it kind of a hard game. But it's really fun. It's worth it. I mean, it's like you feel like such a badass, especially when you got 2 assault rifles, or you're sneaking up and kind of taking out the room without anybody finding you. And of course, you get to fight giant robots. And at one point, you're in a giant robot. So there's tons of fun stuff in the game. And if you haven't played it and you like shooters, I highly recommend this one. It is one of the best shooters I have ever played. So those are the 5 reasons that I am currently obsessed with Wolfenstein. I highly recommend the game if you haven't played it, and I hope you guys enjoyed hearing what I personally love about the game and why I think it deserves to get all the attention it can. I can't wait for the new Colossus to come out. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye!